Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Footed Tackle podcast. I'm your host, Ari Stamatakos. We're here again, day 2 of 29, a podcast 2 of 22. I'm joining you all once again, and I am very tired, but we crack on. I am your host, Ari Stamatakos, like I said. Hope everyone's well. I hope everyone enjoyed the first semi-full day of World Cup action. We got 3 games. Which we'll touch on all 3, of course. But there is, of course, that one more remaining time slot, which will be filled from this day onwards. Tonight, of course, we get the full 4 games a day, which is going to be unbelievable. Despite the shit time zone that this World Cup is in for especially for Australian Eastern Daylight Time people on the east coast of Australia, barring Brisbane or barring Queensland. Despite that shit time zone, we crack on, we go again, we keep going, and we keep watching the glorious football, because there was 3 games, all very interesting and exciting in different ways. We'll touch on all 3, of course, but before I start, I implore you all to subscribe to the Two Footed Tackle podcast YouTube channel. If you watched the first episode and you decided to subscribe, or you decided to return for episode 2, thank you very much. I hope you stick around. What do I plug next? Yeah, subscribe, like, notification bell. They're the 3 on YouTube. And then you go with the good old audio platforms. My brain's not working. Audio platforms: Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, 5-star ratings. Follow it, subscribe to it, notification bell, all that good stuff. And then, of course, the socials: TikTok, Instagram, Two Footed Tackle Podcast. I was going to say it's the same content, but follow on both, please. Where you get updated on, especially on Instagram, where you get updated on new clips and new episodes. And then we go with Twitter, TFTPod, where you can see my live thoughts when I live tweet most of the game, not all of them, most of the games. Despite me attempting to watch every game, you're going to have to bear with me for some of them. I just can't be bothered to get on my phone. I just want to watch the game and try not to fall asleep. So you have to bear with me, but live tweeting some of the games. And if you want to follow me, at Ari_Y_Stammer, that's where you'll get my more comedic side of things. If you want my comedy, or my attempt at comedy, I should say, follow my personal account during the World Cup, or in general, but especially during the World Cup, you'll see my attempt at comedy. And then if you want my more like football analysis or football talk, follow the actual pod account. Or, I've got an idea, follow both. It'll mean the world to me. But yes, of course, all the links, relevant links, are in the description. So, let's crack on and let's go. Let's start this with 3 games. Of course, it was England, Iran, Senegal, Netherlands, and the USA versus Wales. We have now found out the first, all four teams in both Group A and Group B have played, and it makes for 2 very, very interesting groups. Now let's start. I want to speak on all 3 games, and I want to touch on a few talking points when we finish up. So let's start with... Actually, should we do it first? No, okay, let's do it first. No. Yeah, okay. I want to speak about England, Iran, and there's a lot to speak about when it comes to that game. But I feel like that's going to probably take up the chunk of this episode. But anyway, let's go with England, Iran. Now, that was, of course, the early kickoff. And I think the main kind of talking point around this was, of course, the armband. Now, of course, England have said, or did at least say, that they will be going with and wearing, especially Harry Kane, the OneLove Armband in solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community. Of course, that is fantastic sentiment, especially in the country in which the World Cup is hosted in. Spreading awareness for that is top notch. It's very good. It's something that needed to, or something that should be done to stand up to some of those, to some of the injustices that that homosexual people face in Qatar, or of course in the Middle East, maybe more particular, but of course Qatar being the host nation, hence why. England were going to do that. I assume the Wales were going to do that as well. I assume most countries were going to do that until maybe, I want to say, a couple of hours before kickoff. Maybe even an hour before kickoff, as late as that. It was announced that no one was going to wear it due to fears of sanctioning, or due to fears of sanctioning from from FIFA. Now, we don't exactly know to what extent these sanctions were. whether or not they were in terms of like a yellow card as soon as kickoff happens, or maybe we're talking pretty like continuously like matches banned for bringing the game into disrepute. I don't know. From what I've seen floated around, is that all it was just a yellow card. Funnily enough, Sportsbet actually suspended all yellow card bets for Harry Kane, or to be booked markets for Harry Kane, which is quite funny. But yeah, it now when you speak now, of course that was what has been known in terms of like if Kane did this, it'll just be a booking. FA have then gone back on their word despite publicly announcing that they would continue to wear the armband. They went back on their word and didn't wear it. Now, this is a shame. It's a shame because if it was just a booking, like come on, come on now. Like let's be honest, let's be serious here. It's a booking. It's not like we're talking multiple game suspensions. And that's my next point was, if the punishment was a 3-game suspension, firstly that would have been absolutely fucking ridiculous. But it's FIFA, so do we expect anything more, right? Or anything less, I should say. If it was like a 3-game suspension, or like something dumb like $1 million fine or something dumb like that, right? You look at it and you think, okay, we're here to play football. Our primary focus is to play football. It's not to It's not to make political statements. A 3-game ban. He's our best player. He's probably our only world-class player, barring maybe a couple of others. Main goal scorer. We're here to play football at the end of the day. That's probably would have been the logic if it was a big 3, 4, 5, 6 game suspension, which I wouldn't put it past FIFA to do, right? But it was a yellow card. Like, it's a yellow card. Like, the worst thing that happens is that Kane gets sent off for a second yellow, and then he misses a game. They should have just done it. Like, they should have done it. I know a TV presenter did it. Her name is absolutely escaping me right now. If I can quickly find it, then I will say it. But a TV presenter did wear it in fantastically, I should say. She wore it. I've got the photo. I don't know the name. My sincere apologies. I think it's Alex Scott. I don't know. I might be wrong in saying that, but I'm just not gonna say the name. Anyway, she wore it in the preview while presenting it in the UK, or like for a UK channel, which was good. Yeah, overall disappointing. I think it's spineless from the FA. If the only it borders on the lines of the repercussions. If it's a 3, 4, 5 game ban, then I can understand to a certain extent the logic behind not wearing it. Because ultimately, they're here for footballing reasons, and having a star player banned for 4 to 5 games, or 3 to 4 or 5 games, is something which you need to think about. If it was a yellow card, and that's it, then it's a spineless decision made by the FA, and a spineless decision made by that England team. You need to use the profile and the presence that you have when the repercussions aren't severe to make a statement. If to me it was another thing of, all right, so it's all talk, no action. It's all bark, no bite. It was a shame, massive shame. And I know we're not here for political reasons, and I know that we're here to play football. But when people say keep politics out of football, it's one of, if not the most frustrating phrase in sport, because politics is inherently linked with football. In my opinion, politics or sport is now a section, like a sector of politics. Football in particular, but sport in general is a sector of politics. That's why sports washing is a thing, right? That's why Qatar have this World Cup, because if sport had no influence on people, Qatar wouldn't hold this World Cup. If sport had no influence on people, then the World Cup would literally just be held in Germany, England, France, Spain, Portugal, the US maybe, or like France, the big nations, right? But because it's got such a wide reach, because it can be used for so much good, it can be used in good senses. When my mind goes to the 2010 World Cup, I understand that the circumstances in which that was awarded to South Africa have come to light as being slightly underhand, which we come to expect from FIFA. But overall, I I don't want to go as far as to call it good sports washing or positive sports washing because I don't necessarily think that's a thing. However, it did. When you speak to people who were at who were at that tournament, you saw the congregation of black and white South Africans together, which hadn't been seen, to my knowledge anyway. I could be horribly wrong, and I apologise if I am. But of course, we all know what happened in South Africa, and obviously that tournament brought a lot of people together, which is great. However, it is used. Sport is used in the bad way for sports washing. Hence, his Qatar World Cup. I mean, do we need to go into it, right? Anyways, I think there would have been a massive statement made by England if they did wear it, and they could have taken obviously it's not a competition, right? But they could have taken a leaf out of the Iranian players' books, and not and made a stand. And of course, the stand that the Iranian players did make was the silence during their national anthem. If I'm not mistaken, the fans in the stadium booed the national anthem as well. Of course, this is in response to the. I'm not fully clued up on this, so I won't speak about it too in depth. I haven't done my research. I apologize. To the best of my knowledge, it is of course in response to the very, very poor treatment of women in Iran at the moment, or of some women in Iran at the moment. Of course, it has made it's not obviously as big as a lot of other news stories, but it is of course pretty well known what has been happening in recent times. So for Iran not to sing the national anthem, the Iranian players not to sing the national anthem, to my knowledge, the fans in the stadium booed it as well. That's how you make a stand. That is how you make a stand against something that's wrong, and that is even riskier because you're making a stand against your own country, which I applaud. I applaud to the nth degree because once again, football does a lot of good. Football reaches a lot of people, and you can say keep politics out of sport, but once again, politics is like sport is politics. It's been politics for a long time, especially football, especially the World Cup. So I applaud the Iranian players for that. I applaud the Iranian players for standing up to that. I applaud to the nth degree. That was very good to see. Very good to see because you need to stand up and you need to make a statement. So that's good. Now we're not done there. We will speak on the football in a moment. This frustrates me because I want to speak about the football because I love football, right? And if you watch yesterday's episode, you know how much I like to say the word football. I love watching this sport, right? But I can't ignore everything that's happened around it, especially this tournament. So I want to try to keep this brief, even though it's taken 12 minutes for me to even speak about the football. But England players took the knee before the game once again. Good. I'm glad. I'm very happy that happened. There was no audible booing from reports in the stadium and from obviously on TV. There was no audible booing. Good start. Good stuff. Love this. 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 Now, let's speak about the football. It was England-Iran. Now, a lot of people were kind of maybe not umming and ahhing, but were kind of not really sure what to expect from this game because, of course, England did line up with a back four. They lined up with no Phil Foden. They lined up with no James Maddison, as we were told. They lined up with Harry Maguire playing alongside John Stones as a centre half. They played Trippier instead of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Of course, that double pivot of Rice and Bellingham was expected, and of course, Harry Kane, Saka, Sterling, Mount was the chosen front four. Jordan Pickford did goal as always. I obviously am very bullish about England. I think I might have said Arsenal as well. I'm very bullish about England. I obviously I do have them winning the whole tournament. So I obviously was looking at this game with a relatively keen eye just because I love being right. Who doesn't love being right? So if England win the tournament, I'm right, which means I'm happy, which means I can be smug to a lot of people. But what you had with England was a real kind of almost cat and mouse game between them and everyone else and everyone watching them because we've seen what England have been in the last couple of tournaments. We've seen what England have been, especially in the most recent Nations League campaign, and that was very defensively solid. Look to frustrate the game and use those bits of individual quality that they got up front to win them games. This was the exact opposite. This was the exact opposite to what we could have expected. England looked very good, and this is speaking on the whole game. I like England. England by far have been the best team of the tournament so far. That goes without saying. But this game showed and proved and validated a lot of my thoughts around how good England can be when they're given freedom. I think they won't play this same style of football against the likes of Brazil, France, Spain, Germany, these top teams. But this style of football will work against the USA and will work against Wales. They looked so good. Like they looked seriously good. This wasn't about how bad Iran was. This was about how incredibly good England were. They were scintillating. Absolutely scintillating to watch. And a lot of people were kind of saying, "Oh, England are rubbish. Southgate's not good." Southgate is the perfect player. I've said this so many times. Southgate is the perfect man to get the best out of these players. And we saw it against Iran. They were playing free-flowing, intense, aggressive, expansive, assertive football on the front foot, playing in between the lines, using width, using balance in midfield, exposing the Iranian defence in behind, using depth. They were doing so many intrinsically brilliant things in that final third. England looked fantastic. They looked so good, and it wouldn't shock me if they went 3 from 3 in this group stage. Of course, the USA will be a far greater test to England than Iran. Wales will probably be to a similar level, I'd suspect. But yeah, England looked sensational. England looked absolutely sensational. There was a lot of strain on that midfield double pivot. I feel like that's something which could be adapted to and adjusted to throughout the tournament. That obviously would probably come with Mount dropping slightly deeper, creating almost like a midfield three or like a midfield like a double pivot with one slightly ahead dropping deep, creating almost like a 3-5-2 or like a 3-4-1-2, or sorry, a 4-2 a 4-2-1-2. Yeah, wait. I'm so confused. No, because they play 3. So it would play like a 4-3-3, but with Rice dropping deep, Mount coming alongside Bellingham. I was thinking if they were playing a 5 at the back, they weren't. So that's something that I would probably like to see, or would expect to see, if they persist with this 4 at the back system. I don't think they will persist with this 4 at the back system, because I do think that when you look at it, it works against Iran. It won't work against Germany. It won't work against the Netherlands. It won't work against France. Spain, it won't work. I just think being able to play through teams that sit slightly deeper, that sit slightly less aggressive is a lot. It's a lot easier to break them down, obviously, but it's a lot easier to be expressive, because you don't have a lot of risk. And England were so expressive in this game. When they come up against France, they're going to be less willing to take risks with the ball. They're going to be less willing to make that pass in between the lines, to try and make that outside of the foot shot or whatever, like these fancy things to try and break a game open, because obviously the threat of the counter-attack is so much greater than Mahed Taremi, with all due respect, right? So I would expect them to not only tone down their expansiveness as the tournament goes on, but I would also expect them to change systems at some stage, potentially in the quarters, if they get that far. Potentially in the quarters if they get that far, and I expect them to move back to the back 5. But in saying that, the back 5 plays relatively similar to how this back 4 plays anyway. Traditionally, this back 4, obviously this system was far different to what we had normally seen. England looked a lot more expansive than what we have come to see from them. So I'd expect them to move back to a 5 in the later stages of the tournament, and then kind of slowly go back to what we saw at the Euros, which is slightly more defensively solid, slightly more, I wouldn't say possession-based, but a very low tempo, trying to just keep the ball and suffocate games, because it's worked for them. Like they like Gareth, it's worked for Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate's England's second most successful manager. I can't remember who won it in '66. I probably should know that, but I don't. But he is England's second most successful manager. More successful than Bobby Robson, more successful than other managers that they've had, right? So other great managers, especially during that period in the 90s. Because let's be honest, this England team is coming into a period where they've had their weakest squad. Probably this is... Sorry, I should preface it, rephrase it, I should say. Gareth Southgate inherited England's weakest squad in a long time, in a very, very long time, right? Back in 2018, 2017, it was a weak squad. I mean, when you look back at that 2018 World Cup, Danny Rose was in it, Dele Alli was in it, Jesse Lingard was in it, Loftus-Cheek was in it, Ashley Young was in it, like an old Ashley Young. Like a very, very young Jamie Vardy was in it. Eric Dyer was playing a key role. Harry Maguire was playing a very, very key role. I know he played, but different circumstances there. Like, it was obviously a very, very different team, a much worse team to what we've seen obviously in 2020, 2021 with the Euros, and of course what we're seeing now. But when you look at managers from the past, especially when you look at like the 90s teams, and I mean, I like that team with Gascoigne, with Shearer, with all these players, right? Owen, McManaman. I'll try to think of other people. But then that transitioned into the golden generation with, of course, your Lampards, Gerrards, your Rooneys, your Terrys, your Ferdinands, these players, right? Your Hargreaves, who I think is incredibly underrated, by the way. So Gareth Southgate has inherited probably the weakest side and has transformed them into being a fantastic football team. That goes down to the FA. He's, of course, worked in the FA system for a long time, so you have to give credit to them for that. But yeah, England looked very good. England looked very, very good. When we look at the game, probably in terms of in moments, there was a pen very early on that should have been given, and this goes back to what I was saying about to what I'm going to say about VAR. How the fuck can you give how can you give the Iran penalty a penalty, but not the England one? Like, it's almost an identical scenario, but the foul on Harry Maguire is 10 times worse. It is absolute night and day, and if this is going to be the standard of VAR for the rest of the tournament, then fuck me, we're in some trouble. We're in some big trouble. It was the most blatant penalty I've ever seen. And not only that, if you're not going to give that a penalty, how are you going to give the penalty late on in the game? I just don't get it. It's absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. But then again, it's VAR. So do we expect anything more? I feel like we're going to be speaking about VAR for quite a few times in this tournament. But it is what it is. It just adds to the drama, adds to the spectacle. I mean, we already spoke about it in the first game, so why can't we speak about it in the second, third, fourth, fifth game? Why not? But that of course, that was just something that which was quite obvious. Of course, England did get the game underway pretty early. It was a Bellingham goal in the 35th minute, 43rd minute Saka goal, 45th minute Sterling goal, before a rompant second half saw England win 6-2. And do I need to speak anything about? I want to speak about Iran. I want to speak about Iran a little bit later on. This podcast might go for a little bit longer. I might need to cut down the Wales USA and Senegal Netherlands chat, unfortunately. But 24-minute stoppage time. We're going to get a lot of stoppage time this tournament. Of course, the 14 minutes in the first half was pretty justified. That goalkeeper was dead. Like, I think he might have died. It was a horrendous collision. Concussion for certain, broken nose, I'd almost guarantee. That was a horrendous thing. 14-minute stoppage time probably would have been given regardless. But when you take a look at the 10-minute stoppage time in the second half, when you take a look at the 8-minute stoppage time at the back end of the Senegal-Netherlands game, we're in for a long tournament. This is my biggest fear. This is FIFA slowly moving towards a stop clock system, which to me takes away the most beautiful part of football. It's almost like they've got a stop clock. As soon as the ball goes out of play, they stop it, they start it. When it comes back, they stop it. And they literally add it to the second how many minutes stop each time. Because 14 minutes and 10 minutes, so that's 24 minutes. It's a long time. It's a long time for stoppage time, right? Especially in the second half when not a lot happened. But, there you go. That's just something that I wanted to say. I'm scared that we're going to be going into a stop clock era of football, which isn't something that I'm a fan of. But if that comes, then we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. That's the saying. Let's go to the other game, the 3 a.m. game in Australian time. As I quickly yawn because I'm tired. There you go. Got that out of the way. Try not to make it as graphic. But let's go to Senegal Netherlands, and of course this was a game which had the glaring omissions of potentially the two most talented players for either side. No Memphis Depay, No Sadio Mane. That's what I was thinking, saying. No Memphis Depay, no Sadio Mane. Of course, Mane has been ruled out for the entire tournament. Depay was not fit to start the game. However, he did make the cameo for. He did make the cameo for the final half an hour, and he was very integral. But just some notes on this game. Senegal looked good, man. Senegal looked really good. They looked a lot more comfortable in possession. They looked willing to play it out from the back and be expansive in their ball movement. It was very good. It was very impressive from Senegal, and it was actually Netherlands who were looking to hit on the counter with pace, with direct football more than Senegal, which was quite surprising. I would have thought it'd be the other way around, but Senegal were just so comfortable in possession. They were looking to find those passes in between the lines, looking to really add that layer of comfortableness or dominance to their game. We all know the talent that Senegal have, even without Mane, right? But they wanted to add a layer of dominance in terms of possession dominance and territory dominance to their game, and they did that very, very well. They looked fantastic in possession. They looked comfortable in the middle third. In the final third, they looked pretty good when it came to build-up play. However, they just lacked that final pass. They just really lacked that cutting edge. And I think when you look at it, how good was... Senegal lost the game, right? Senegal lost the game 2-0. In all honesty, a draw was probably the fair result, and if any team deserved to win it, it would have been Senegal. But my main takeaway from that game, from a Senegal perspective, was just how good would they have been with Sadio Mane. Because so many times they got to that ball with it, like they got into the final third, they got into the 18-yard box, and it was that final pass which let them down. How good would they be with Sadio Mane? It's a massive shame that he's missing out on this tournament, because if he plays this game, Senegal probably win. So it's frustrating. From a neutral perspective, it's going to be extremely frustrating if you're a Senegal fan. As you could probably hear my dog barking in the background. I apologise if that picks up on the mic. But it's a shame that he's had to miss out due to injury. It's a massive shame, because he would have lit up this tournament with his very exciting, very expansive Senegal side. So it's a massive shame that he's missing out. But I think when you look at it from a Netherlands perspective, their main man for me wasn't Cody Gakpo who scored the goal. It was Frankie de Jong. That was a big bark from my dog there. I apologise if you can hear this. Should I tell her to shush? No, I think she should shut up, hopefully. My main man for Netherlands there was Frankie de Jong. He's so good. He's so good. He's one of the best carriers of the ball in the world. And Frankie de Jong is absolutely frightening with the ball at his feet. He has this aura, almost like what Gerrard had. And Gerrard isn't known for his dribbling ability, but when you speak to players who played against him, people speak about his just innate ability to pick up the ball and just turn on a dime and just run past players. Gerrard wasn't overly quick. He wasn't skillful. He didn't have incredible close control, but he just had this power and this confidence and this class with the ball, which he just glided past players. De Jong has that. It's very similar. It's almost uncanny the way that he carries the ball with just such confidence. And he was Netherlands' main kind of player, like in attack, in the middle third especially. Of course, it was him alongside Cody Gakpo who scored the goal. He's a fucking baller, man. Cody Gakpo's a baller. He's so good. He's incredibly talented. Was obviously scored the first goal. The second goal came from Davy Klaassen with pretty much the last kick of the game. Very cruel, very, very cruel, very, very, very cruel on Senegal. Sorry, because once again, if any side deserved to win, if there was a winner in this game, it was Senegal. But football is a cruel game. Football is a very cruel game. I'm not sure if I was just going to bring up the stats, but I just want to bring up the stats ever so quickly, just to kind of document this. Obviously, 15 shots to 10, 4 shots on target to 3, like 2 more shots inside the box. Netherlands goalkeeper had to make 4 more saves. they had the lion's share of territory in this game. It was it was quite it was quite cruel. I think that's the best way to describe it. But football's a cruel game. Inherently, it's a cruel game. So I guess we'll have to see what this means for the group, because of course Netherlands and Ecuador both sit on 3 points with +2 goal difference. Both teams have scored 2 goals, conceded none, with Senegal and Qatar sitting on -2 points. I'm not sure what the fixtures are for these two sides. If I can bring it up quickly, Netherlands do versus Netherlands versus Ecuador. So that obviously means Senegal versus Qatar. Loser of Senegal Qatar is out, and you'd almost go as far as to say whoever draws that would be very, very, very unlikely to make it, because basically it's loser gets knocked out in Qatar Senegal, and it's probably going to be the first game of the tournament with actual jeopardy, which is great. That's going to be a good game to watch because of the jeopardy involved. Whoever loses that game is gone, out of the tournament. No points from 2 games. You can't make it through from there, I don't think, anyway. So yeah, that's going to be a big game. Can't wait to see that. But of course, Ecuador Netherlands, the winner of that automatically goes through, and we saw how confident Ecuador were in possession. Granted, it was against Qatar, but they still were quite confident. If Ecuador can shock a few people, I have them finishing bottom of the group. So if they can manage to, if they get a point off Netherlands, you almost say that they're through. Let's be honest. So they do, of course, versus Senegal in their last game. So of course, it's going to be an interesting watch. It's going to be an interesting watch, both of those games. I'm not quite sure when those games are, when it comes to Australian time. Qatar Senegal is midnight, which is good, because that's going to be a good game to watch. That's going to be a good game to watch with a lot of jeopardy. But yeah, so that is, of course, the permutations for Group A. Let's move on to the final game in Group B. Is it raining or is a car going past? I think it's a car going past. Yeah, final game in Group B, of course, it was USA versus Wales. I want to touch on these briefly because we're ticking over 32 minutes and I want to keep these podcasts pretty brief. The USA are good, huh? Especially that first half, they were good. Wales play a lot better with Kiefer Moore up front. I think they should go with that Moore, Bale, another player with those three, with kind of Ampadu and Ramsey playing in that double pivot. I think that's the way they should go going forward. Now, backline's pretty good. Rodon, Mepham, Davies is not bad. I just think USA had so much more possession, like so much more confident possession, so much more dominance, territory, especially in that first half. And the Yanks are pretty good. I had them as my dark horse, even though they didn't finish top of their qualifying group, and a lot of people were saying they're not that good, they're susceptible defensively. And granted, we saw that at times in the second half, but that first half showed when they get their game going, when they have a lot of the ball, when they're playing with confidence and playing with this energy and this tempo, they're going to be very good. They're going to be very, very good. USA versus England is going to be a cracker of a game. That's going to be an unbelievable game. I wouldn't be surprised if that's game of the group stage, to be honest, because both sides like to play aggressive, high tempo, on the front foot style football, especially what we've seen so far in this tournament. So it wouldn't shock me if the USA can get a result from that game, despite England's brilliance. So yeah, that's going to be a very fascinating game. But we have seen a susceptibility towards the USA in that second half against Wales. They got on top of the play a little bit more in that second half. They got those balls to Kiefer Moore in those channels, playing him to feet, and then of course flicking it out to Bale and to these other players. So it was of course a penalty, which saw it equalise in the 80th minute. An extremely card happy referee, can I just say? I think it was like 4 cards in 10 minutes in the first half, something ridiculous like that. Just an extremely unnecessarily card-happy referee. If I go back to, it was 4 red cards in the first half, 6 red cards in total throughout the yellow cards. Fuck me, 4 yellow cards across the first half, 6 in total of the game. Just think it was unnecessary, but he lost control of the game at Ep3, which was unfortunate, but yeah, that was just my 2 cents on the game. I didn't want to speak about this for too long. Ticking over 35 minutes, and I want to get this out. And it's currently, peak by McKern, it's currently 12:31 when I record this on Tuesday. So if this doesn't get out before 2 p.m., that's fucked. But I should be fine. Hopefully nothing corrupts. Why have I said that? Yeah, they're just 2 cents on the game. The USA are going to be good this tournament. They were my dark horses, or not? What they were my dark horses. They were one of my dark horses in the tournament for a reason. I want to speak on something which has frustrated me. A lot of people, unjustifiably, have been shitting on the Asian Confederation throughout this tournament, right? This comes off the back of a 2-0 loss that Qatar suffered. This comes off the back of the 6-2 loss that Iran suffered. People are pointing and making fun of the Asian Confederation. How can these two teams be the two better teams in your confederation? Of course, Qatar won the Asian Cup in 2019. Iran finished top of their qualifying group. Let's just relax because over the past 3 World Cups from 2010, 14 and 18, only 3 countries from Africa have qualified out of the group stage, the exact same as Asia. So let's just temper our expectations for a little bit and let's get these double standards fixed, right? Because we don't hear a peep about the African Confederation. Not at all. We hear about how good they are, how elegant they are, how exciting they are, everything about how good they are. But when it comes to the Asian Confederation, it's how shit are they? They're terrible. Like all this stuff. The only good teams are Japan and South Korea. The rest are rubbish. I mean, Jamie Carragher had every Asian team finishing bottom of their group. It's ridiculous to me. Like if you watch Asian football, it's high quality. You have Qatar, who shut themselves in the first game, and a very, very good England side beating Iran. Beating Iran. Let's give praise to the teams that won instead of shitting on the teams that lost. Because the Asian Confederation is actually very good, despite what 2 games at a World Cup will tell you. If you look at it historically, it's a very good confederation. Not just saying this because I'm Australian, I'm saying this because it's fact. Right? Very good confederation. So let's just get that straight. That frustrated me quite a lot. Because these double standards is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Just because Asia doesn't produce your Sadio Mane, your Mo Salahs, your Riyad Mahrez, your Didier Drogbas, you know what I mean. They don't produce these type of players. Doesn't mean that they're shit, inherently bad. Just got something that annoyed me. But let's finish up and let's speak on. Let's just preview the game, as I can hear a lawnmower going off in the background. I'm not sure whether that's coming from my backyard or from next door, but I'm going to wrap this up quickly so I don't hurt anyone's ears. If you can pick that up, of course, the one game tonight, as I'm recording this, is Argentina, Saudi Arabia. That's going to be good. Messi. Oh, I can't wait to watch Messi. It's going to be so good. Poland versus Mexico's on at 3, Denmark, Tunisia at midnight, and France versus Australia at 6 a.m. It hasn't sunk in, to be honest. It hasn't sunk in that I'm going to watch Australia at the World Cup again. Against France again, I should say. It hasn't sunk in quite yet. I think maybe by midnight it probably will. Oh, please win. Oh, I'm begging. Even a point will do wonders, but obviously no Benzema, no Pogba, no Kante, no Nkunku. Obviously no Boyle, no Hrustic for Australia. Hrustic won't start. Boyle, of course, been removed from the squad, replaced by Marco Tilio. Please win. It would genuinely make my entire year. It'd be the happiest day of my life if we could win. Oh, okay, now it's setting in. Now that I've spoken about it, it's setting in now. 6 a.m. This probably means that there might be a slightly more tired Ari for tomorrow's podcast because I won't watch the Mexico-Poland game, which means I'll probably fall asleep after the Denmark-Tunisia game or during the Tunisia-Denmark game because I'm going to have to get up and watch France-Australia. So it might be slightly more tired than usual, but I'll be here. And if Australia win, all that tiredness can go out the fucking window. let's just give predictions. Argentina, Saudi Arabia. Now these predictions aren't going to correlate to my overall group prediction. So if I predict, say for the rest of the Group C games, I predict Argentina, the results I predict end up having Argentina finishing second instead of first. That's not my problem. I'm just doing this off vibes. Argentina, Saudi Arabia. I'm going to go with 2-0 Argentina. 2-0 Argentina. Yeah, we'll go 2-0 Argentina. Tunisia, Denmark. I think Denmark should win that quite comfortably. I'm gonna go 2-0 Denmark, but it'll be pretty comfortable. Mexico, Poland. I'm gonna go 1-0 Mexico. 1-0 Mexico. France, Australia. Head or heart? Head or heart? Head? Let's be honest. Head is saying 2-0 France. Heart is saying 1-0 Australia. 57th minute Harry shoots a header. Or a 81st minute Awa Mobile goal, or a Craig Goodwin goal or something. Head saying 2-0 France. Heart is saying 1-0 Australia. And if you want to see how Australia could beat France, go over to the Inner Sanctum YouTube channel where I did a comprehensive preview on France from a Socceroos perspective. Good scouting report. I was very proud of it. One of the most proud I've ever been about a piece of content I've ever made. So go over to the Inner Sanctum YouTube channel. It's on there. Yeah, I'll probably retweet it as well. So if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see it there. There's a good plug for you as we finish things up. But fucking come on Australia. Come on Australia. Oh, I did not think I'd be sitting here. But go back to the podcast where we beat Peru. Look at the fucking expression on my face, and then look at my expression on my face now. It's literally identical. Oh, I'm giddy. I'm fucking so excited. Anyway, let's wrap things up. Thank you all very much for watching another episode of the 2 Foot Tackle podcast. I've been your host, Ari Stamatakos. As always, make sure you subscribe to the 2 Foot Tackle podcast YouTube channel, notification bells, like the video, like the podcast, share it around. All that would mean the world. If you came for the first episode of this World Cup series and you stuck around, thank you very much. It means the world to me if you could share it around. Thank you all very much for sticking around. Yes, all the audio platforms, do other good stuff. Socials, Linktree. Go on my Instagram or my Twitter. There's like a Linktree bio where every single bit of content, every single relevant link you need is on there. So yeah, check that out. But yes, thank you all very much for watching. Another episode of 2 Foot Tackle podcast will be here once again 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow for the rest of the World Cup. It's going to be good. Can't wait to fully get into the swing of things. But yes, thank you all very much for watching. Can't wait for Australia to beat France. See you guys next time, and goodbye.